Hi, it's me, Amber Hayter, your life coach. And today I want to talk about practicing. I want to talk about why practicing can be so hard, why it's so hard to get yourself to do it sometimes, and how we need to shift our mindset so that we can find ourselves practicing more often and more effectively. Okay. So I recently talked about how there's 3 stages of development on your dance journey, especially. And in that first stage, you have lots of rapid growth. You're new at something, you're willing to be new, you're willing to make mistakes. And there's lots of rapid growth just because there's so much for you to learn. And that stage is usually pretty fun. Okay. The second stage is where that growth starts to slow down. What you have to learn is actually kind of less and less the further you progress. And it takes a little bit more time to see a result. And so that stage of development is less motivating. It's a little less enthusiastic because it just takes a little bit more work. And that is the stage at which practicing becomes more difficult for a lot of us. And I've seen this cycle so many times. So in the beginning, because practicing is so fruitful, like you make this effort and you actually get a lot of really obvious results from it, that practicing is fun. Practicing feels very productive. And so it's very satisfying. But as your growth slows, then that practicing doesn't seem as fruitful. It is fruitful, but it's not as obvious. And so it starts to seem like it's less worth it. And when it seems like it's less worth it, it seems like we're not progressing as fast. We become just a little bit less motivated. And when we're less motivated, then we're more apt to practice less, skip practices, and thereby you slow down your progress even more. So it's this feedback loop. It's this cycle where, like, actually the less I practice, the less I'm motivated to practice. And it continues on and on until somebody finally quits. Because what I see is clients will often get to a place where they're not practicing really anymore, but they're still paying for lessons. And they get this thought, which is interesting. They think, well, if I'm not practicing, then maybe I should just quit my lessons because it's a waste of money for me to take lessons and then not support it with practicing. And so then ultimately they quit, which literally stops progress altogether. I mean, I even especially advocate for just keep your lessons going because that is keeping you progressing, albeit slower, but that's better than now quitting practicing and quitting lessons and stopping dancing altogether. And we don't really want that. We want to keep dancing as long as we can. So we want to stop that vicious cycle. We want to get ourselves practicing again. And as dancers, we know how important practice is. We understand that to reach our goals, we're going to have to practice. I mean, in reality, you don't have to, but you know that if you don't, it's going to slow your progress down. And dancers are often impatient. They want the results. They want that product at the end. They want to see that they're getting it. And we know deep down that if we're not practicing, that we're less likely to get our result that we want. And we recognize that we're in our own way and that it's our own fault. And that doesn't feel very good. So ultimately, that's a feeling also that we want to kind of escape from. So that's a lot of the reason we'll quit too, is because it gets intolerable to watch ourselves stand in our own way like that. So let me state for the record here that this is all very normal. Humans are wired to not work hard if there's not a desired result. That would be a waste of energy. And the brain is inherently lazy, actually. So nothing's gone wrong here. We just got to learn how to hack ourselves and figure out what works to get us moving again and what doesn't. Okay, so now this is where I could give you a bunch of strategies for what to actually practice. And this is what clients want. This is what they think they want. This is what you think you want. You think you want to know how much time to warm up, what to warm up with, drills you could do, when and how to review choreography or videos of you dancing. I could talk to you about time management. I could talk to you about how long to practice and how many days a week, but that is not what you need. I guarantee you your dance coaches have given you this. They teach you technique. They tell you what to work on. They know what you need to do next, and they tell you. So I know it's not because you don't know what to do. That's not the problem. The problem is that when it comes time to actually do it, you struggle to do it or you don't do it at all. that when it comes time to actually do it, that is when you can't get yourself to do it. Why not? Right now, it seems like the problem is that you're not getting the results that you want, and so you aren't motivated, but that's not it. The reason you don't do it is because of what you are feeling and thinking at that moment. All behavior is driven by what you are feeling, by what emotional state you're in. If you feel motivated, courageous, driven, committed, determined, excited, you act. If you are feeling demotivated, dejected, indifferent, hopeless, bored, inadequate, apathetic, you probably don't act. And if you are able to get yourself to act under those conditions, the result isn't great because you suffer through it. And so your practices aren't even enjoyable. And so it doesn't make you want to do it next time, right? So when practice for you is on your schedule and you go to actually do it, what are you feeling? What's the emotion? That's the moment I want you to pay attention to. What is it that you're feeling in that moment? I'll tell you what it is most often for me is indifference or confusion. Okay, so where do these feelings come from? Where do those emotions for you actually come from? Because if we can figure out how to hack that, then we can hack ourselves into an emotion that will make us want to act. So where does the emotion come from? We tend to think that the feelings just are. They just show up and that we can't control them, but we can. We can generate emotions that we need at the time that we need them. So how do we do that? Well, here's the trick. Your emotions come from what you're thinking. They come from your mindset. They come from your thoughts. When I feel indifferent, it's because I think thoughts like, it won't make a difference. I'm probably going to do it wrong anyway. So what's the use? Right? If I feel confusion, it's because I'm thinking thoughts like, I don't even know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to focus on. What's the most important thing to focus on? I don't even know if I'm doing this right. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed because I think things like, there's too much to do. There's too many things to cover. I can't possibly practice for all of these styles. I'll be here all day. How am I supposed to incorporate all these styles into each practice or all this week? And that leads to overwhelm, which leads me to practice less or not do it at all. Okay. So ask yourself, what are you feeling? What's the emotion when you go to practice? In fact, what are the emotions in general that you feel around practicing? How do you feel about practicing? Pay attention to what that is, because that is what is leading you to either do it or not. And then back it up one step and figure out, what am I thinking? What's my mindset that is creating this emotion for me? Because the secret to cracking this code is to know what the thoughts are. First of all, you got to be aware of them, aware of which ones are keeping you stuck, and then countering them, training yourself to think differently about practicing. You're going to train yourself how to think so that you can generate the emotions that you need to act. Okay. So let's just take a few of these thoughts and I want to break them down and show you how to loosen them up and then change them, morph them. Okay. So when you identify a thought or a thinking pattern, I want you to question it. Okay. So here's some questions to ask that I got from Byron Katie. Number one, is it true? Is the thought even true? Your brain lies to you all the time, all the time. Okay. So we need to ask, is this even true? And then secondly, can you absolutely know it's true without a doubt, without question? And then third, what is this thought getting you? What are the results of this thought? When I think this, what do I feel? What do I do? And then question number 4, who would you be without that thought? If we just deleted it from your memory, if you were not even able to think it, who would you be without that thought? Or what would you do if you thought differently? That's another way to phrase that question. Okay. So I'm going to take one or two of these thoughts of my own, and I'm going to ask these questions about them. Okay. So when I feel indifferent, it's because one of the thoughts I'm having is, I don't think this will make a difference. So that's the thought. This won't make a difference. Is that true? If I go to practice, will it make a difference? Yeah, it will. It will make a difference on some level. Any amount of practice will make a difference, especially over time. Now, let's say you're not sure. Let's say you kind of believe that it won't make a difference. Question 2 is, can you absolutely know that it's true? Meaning, how do we know for sure if it's making a difference or not? Can we even measure that? And we can't. So we can't be absolutely certain that it won't make a difference. Third question, what is this thought getting me? I know that when I think this, I feel apathetic. I kind of don't care. I know that when I think it won't make a difference, that it leads me to practice less. Or when I am practicing, I exude less effort. I give less effort, which will lead to less results. So I know that when I think it won't make a difference, it's not getting me anything good, right? And then question 4, if I didn't have this thought, who would I be? So if I didn't think that, if I didn't think it wouldn't make a difference, what might change? If I weren't allowed to think it ever again, and it's just deleted from my memory. If I didn't believe it won't make a difference, or that it doesn't matter, or that it's not enough, or any of its sister thoughts, if I could just eliminate those kind of thoughts, if they were gone, I would for sure not be adding that negativity to the whole experience. And even if I hadn't come up with any better thoughts, just eliminating these would significantly improve my experience. But I can also think other thoughts. I have the power to do that. I can think the opposite, that for sure it makes a difference. It always makes a difference. Every little bit counts. It all counts. It's all worth the effort. And over time, no matter what, if I just keep showing up and just keep doing it, I will get better. That is true. That is measurable, actually. So by taking this one thought and questioning it, I'm loosening it up and showing myself, I don't want to think that anymore. It's not true and it's not getting me what I want. So I'm going to think differently about this. Okay. Another thought that I often think is that I don't know what to do. And when I think I don't know what to do, I feel confused. So let's unpack this thought. I don't know what to do. Is that true? Well, no. I mean, my coach literally tells me what to do. Every lesson, he tells me what he wants me to work on. We even film him telling me what to work on at the end of the lesson. But even if I didn't have that, could I think of something anyway? Do I know what to do? I could think of something, right? There's always something I can work on. I can ask myself, can I absolutely know for sure that I don't know what to work on? No, there's always something I can work on, just basic steps of every format. I can work on choreography, memorizing it, or taking just sections of it and focusing on it. I can work on locks, cha-cha locks. I can work on walking, back walks, you name it. You know what you can work on. But if you're like me, you're just unwilling to think about it and decide. Because remember, the brain is inherently lazy. That's work to think through that. So the third question I want to apply to this thought is, what is this thought getting me? When I think I don't know what to do, what does it result in for me? It's causing me to feel confused. It's causing me to feel pity. It's causing me to not practice, or to practice fueled with confusion, which isn't as focused as it could be or intentional as it could be. And I'm realizing that this thought also causes me to criticize what I did work on, causes me to doubt that what I did in that practice was enough, or if it was the right thing to focus on. All of it creating what I don't want. Because if I didn't have this thought, I might actually find things to work on. If I just believed that I do know, I can think of something and all of it counts, all of it helps, I would actually make some progress. Okay. So I think that's enough for today. I don't want to feed you with a fire hose too much, but notice how you think about practice. Notice how you feel about practice. Notice what your mindset is around all of it. And notice how it's your thinking that ultimately creates your emotions, that ultimately leads you to act or not act. Okay. That's your homework for right now is pay attention. Notice. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? And then try on the idea that you actually do have control over that. You actually can influence and manage and direct that. But right now, your homework is just to pay attention to it. Okay. And then I'm going to continue talking about practice for another podcast or two because I have more I want to talk about it. But that's it for today. We'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you know any other ballroom dancers who you think might benefit from this podcast, be sure to pass it on. For more information on how to connect with me, be sure to check the show notes for my contact information or go to amberhader.com and contact me that way. We'll see you next time.